for just a moment. That's a really, really good arc in Clone Wars. So again, go to Netflix, the 5th season, 4-part story, chronicling the start of the Rebel Cell on Onderon. That's a really, really good arc, and it's a really, really interesting character. It's one where Anakin is there, and we'll talk about this a little bit further in a moment, but Anakin is there, and so is Ahsoka. And they're training these rebels on the planet to fight against the to fight against the Separatists. I mean oh gosh, I'm getting totally tongue-tied here. Yes, the Separatists. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. I did my show this morning. I haven't had a nap yet. To fight against the Separatists there. So, Pablo Hidalgo said this about the character. Saw has been kicking around for a while. A lot of people know him from the Clone Wars, but he actually started off before that. George Lucas had him in mind for his live-action TV series that was in development. It ultimately never happened, but he found a place to put Saw in his story in Clone Wars. Now, on Star Wars Underworld, it says that this character, the knee-jerk reaction is that this character was to be shown in the television spinoff Underworld. But there was talk about the elements of that show spinning off into 2 other shows as the series progressed. At one point, the series was almost on HBO. That fell apart. So after the talks fell through, the Clone Wars cartoon went to Cartoon Network. Star Wars Underworld just became a thing that George Lucas and then producer Rick McCallum said was too expensive to make, but they were looking for a way to happen anyways. A short time later, George sold Lucasfilm to Star Wars to Disney, and the series became a few seasons of the scripts that have informed elements of the saga. And we've also found out that actually some of those scripts for Star Wars Underworld have made it into the video game for a completely separate story series, God of War. Now, Saw Gerrera's connection isn't unlike what we saw in the Clone Wars and the criminal underworld. Organizations and characters like the Pikes were said to have stemmed from the live-action TV series as well. What I like about this, so the whole point of this, is that here you have a character that was created sometimes after Revenge of the Sith for a live-action show, ends up on Clone Wars, and is now being played by Forrest Whitaker in a live-action Star Wars film. I mean, this kind of tells you what they believe they have and how special this character is. And what I like about it is there's a bit of fan service going on here, but that's what Rogue One needed. Rogue One, it's going to be popular, it's going to do well, but it's not a saga film. There isn't any continuation of a storyline of characters that we have any connection to yet, like we did in the saga movies in The Force Awakens. So going and grabbing a character that the fans certainly are aware of, that gives us the opportunity to go back and watch. Look, it creates a level of excitement and depth to a film that we don't know yet. When we get excited for The Force Awakens, we obviously get excited for very specific reasons. Because we're returning to that galaxy far, far away. It's a lot of things that we already know and characters that we already know and love. We're returning to that galaxy, and we're going to get a story before A New Hope in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, but we don't have any direct connection to any of these characters except for Darth Vader. I'll talk about that in just a moment. So now at least the fans have something that they can perpetuate. The fans have something that they can kind of grab onto. It adds a level of care and attention to detail that they have a great character. That was obviously a part of the reason why they put this Saw Gerrera character in the film, but also part of the reason why they cast such a world-class actor like Forrest Whitaker to play this character. So to me, that brings a special attitude and angle to a film that we're already excited about, but now it makes me even more excited because now I'm going, wow, I was excited about Jyn and another female protagonist. I'm excited about this droid. I'm really excited about this character and what he is going to bring. And now we can go back and watch that arc on Netflix and take a look at that character again, which is interesting because I love the Clone Wars cartoons. They're not something that I've gone back and watched over and over again because I'm more of just the movie guy. If I'm going to spend time watching Star Wars, I'd rather go and watch, one of the 7 films. But I remember that story arc very well, and I've actually watched that story arc several times. And the character Saw Gerrera in that story arc is very, very interesting. So let me wrap up this info dump on Rogue One on this note here, and that is Darth Vader. So they, of course, made the announcement that Darth Vader was going to be in it. Most of us knew that he was already going to be based off of some of the leaked information that we got from that info guide.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Yeah, and his name's Vader.
The dark side.
Sorry, wanted to have a little fun. Darth Vader is the connection, right? So they're letting us know now, slow reveal on Vader. We've already seen what he looks like. I know there was some complaining. Mark Ellis over at Collider Movie Talk today was upset that they revealed this in the Entertainment Weekly story because he wanted to see the Darth Vader reveal in a trailer. But I think it still is going to have an impact for the casual fan when Darth Vader shows up. But Darth Vader is a connection. So while we as fans have this interesting connection with this Forrest Whitaker character, Saw Gerrera, the standard movie-going audience who also wants to see this film, who are Star Wars fans but doesn't pay attention to the stuff apart from the movies, that connection is going to be Darth Vader, which to me raises the question of how big of a character is he going to be in this film? Because I would think that if I were Disney and Lucasfilm, if you're putting Darth Vader in a movie, the regular movie-going audience is going to want to see Darth Vader. They're going to want to get quite a bit of him. So I don't think he's going to be relegated to any sort of background character. I think he's going to be a presence in the film. Now, what's interesting is when you go back and watch A New Hope and you track Darth Vader's screen time, it really isn't all that much. I mean, by comparison to the rest of the actors in the film, when you actually clock the amount of time on screen, he's obviously a presence in the movie and a big presence in the movie, but his screen time isn't the majority of the original movie. So, that raises the question, are we going to get as much screen time in A New Hope? I would say we probably get a little bit less screen time than what we got in A New Hope of Darth Vader. But I do think that it's going to end up being very important screen time and very relevant screen time. And I think it almost has to be. So, look, I'm excited. This got me jacked. This has me wanting to go and watch A New Hope again. Certainly, I'm going to go back and watch that arc on Netflix. But I'm really glad that Entertainment Weekly, Disney, and Lucasfilm put out this information just to kind of put everybody at ease over the creation of this movie and the fear that people are having over these reshoots. I know that the CEO, Bob Iger, made a comment that he's seen most of the film and said it's going to be a fine film. Not a glowing recommendation, but what do you expect from the CEO of Disney? And I'm, again, as I said in last week's podcast, I'm way less concerned about these reshoots because to me, it's the difference between making a good movie and making a great movie. And with what we got today, I'm really excited to see this band of characters that are much different than what we've seen, that all seem to have some damage, and to watch them come together without having to go through a lot of extrapolation on backstory. We can just get into it because these are characters we haven't met before, so we can just go ahead and be introduced to them like we were with Rey and Finn and be off on this adventure, and I, for one, cannot wait. So thanks for checking out this bonus podcast, the Rogue One info dump today. We'll have another episode of the My Nerd World Star Wars podcast this weekend. So go check out the information. Go read Entertainment Weekly. As always, subscribe on iTunes to the podcast. And drop me an email, talkshownerd@gmail.com. I have some email that I'll be reading on this weekend's podcast. I'm looking forward to sharing with you. So until we talk here in a couple of days, may the Force be with you always.